Hey guys, here's Louie. Well guys, I'm here working on the neighbor. So I'm going to show you guys, even though a car looks solid, okay, you really do not know what you're going to be getting into unless you really take the car apart, okay? Any classic car you guys plan to buy and restore, doesn't matter if it's a first gen Firebird, second gen, third gen, okay, or Camaro, or any kind of classic car. If you're watching our channels on YouTube, me at First Generation Garage, Jonathan at Vinyl Village Garage, Brian Manson at Arrowhead Garage, and Mike at Lake and Lodge Garage. I mean, if you're watching us guys, and last night was one of the shows on the Friday Night Live, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we was talking about how to decide on which channel you should be seeing and getting good information out of it, okay? And this is a good example right here. And us guys, the channels that I just mentioned, we show you guys the real deal, okay? We don't sugarcoat anything. We don't try to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. We just tell you the way it is, all right? So even though this 1968 Firebird convertible car, it's a real original car, okay? I really strongly believe it's never taken apart as far as apart as I do on my bills. But the more you dig into the car, the more you get to find issues and issues and issues. And that's why I'm a big believer you should do them once. Just get it done, over with. You don't have to think about it anymore. Or if you sell a car to somebody, you could show them what you did to the car, okay? So either or you buying the car to flip it, you could actually show what did you do to the car. So right here, today I'll be cleaning the rest of the engine bay so I could paint it. I'm first installing a brand new heater core, which this is the time to do it. The engine is out, okay? I did not have to take off the fender. I did not have to take off the inner fender, because if I did, I will tell the owner that I'm not doing it, because I'm going to tell you the truth. When you take off a car that is this original, you're going to be breaking bolts and all that kind of stuff. More work, more time, price goes up on the bill, okay? And because this is more of a friendly budget build to a point, I don't want to deal with none of that stuff, to be honest with you. And I don't think the owner want to spend that kind of money either right now. So it all comes down to also the person's budget. But all reality, guys, if you're getting a good price on building your car, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, just jump on it, get it over with, okay? We all know cutting corners don't get you anywhere good anyways. So the way I was able to do it was I took off the inner fender brace, okay, and just loosen up that bracket and some bolts on the other side of the fender, and I was able to pry it. If you see that, that's a pry bar right there, and I was able to pry it just a little to give me some wiggle room to take it off the firewall, okay? I cleaned it. I mean, it was a giant rat's nest in there, and I'm going to show you another big rat's nest. All right, so I told the owner that I see and I smell the urine and rat nest inside the cowl, okay, where your windshield wipers get both down to. That's your top cowl right there. And I discovered something else, which is no good at all. So here goes that rat's nest, okay? Here goes that big rat's nest that I'm gonna have to clean out and vacuum all of this stuff here. And another thing that is absolutely not good, because it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. Guys, rust does not stop. There's no way of putting a chemical, a magic potion to stop rust, okay? It slows it down, yes, okay? Even if I wire wheel this and I paint it, I'll slow it down and give it better protection than the state that is in now. But what I want to show you guys is that if you cut corners on your project, it will bite you in the future, okay? Look at all that rot. All this is rotted, okay? And it's just creeping up. I'm pretty sure if I was able to remove this glass, it's worse. All right, it's worse in this area right here going straight across. If you guys have seen my build, look at the Lovebird build. Look at my white HO 68 build. I replaced all that because these cars are known to rot right in here. And to see it, here you go again, it's rotted, okay? So I just figure I show you guys that, and I'm going to show you guys where I discovered something else, okay? So there you go. I'm about to remove the wiper motor. I'm about to remove the brake booster because all that's this is gonna get replaced, the brake booster. So all that's gonna get removed, okay? This is your power top circuit breaker, okay? Which I strongly believe you should get a new one. And then this is a power, it's a power brakes car. Originally, an original power brakes car. And for all you guys that ever wonder why, just trying to get a good lighting here, guys. Give me 1 second. All right. For all you guys that wonder why your brake pedal do not hit your brake switch, let me see if I could zoom in. There you go. There's a bracket, okay, on the brake pedal. Do you see how that brake pedal is moving? Well, that's a bracket right there, okay? They do sell it, okay? I brought it to the attention of Jonathan when he was building the Great Pumpkin. He found it on that car, being an original one. Okay, he asked me about that bracket. I told him, yep, that's original. I also helped out Mike from Lake and Lodge, and a whole lot of us help each other out with these builds that we never seen anything. I also reach out to those guys when I'm not sure about something, and that is actually original with any power brake car. Doesn't matter if it was all four-wheel drums or disc brakes at the front and back drums. Doesn't matter if it's an automatic car. Doesn't matter if it's a stick car, manual car, okay? That is original with the car. If you guys ever wonder where is the original wires right here and the connector for your steering wheel column, that part right there, there's a clip behind there, and that gets clipped onto your speedo cable, okay? That's the way they did it from factory. Gets hooked up to your speedo cable, all right? And check out that bubble gum wrapper there. Back in the day, was like a foil. Somebody put that inside this car to use as a fuse, which that's a no-no, okay? But it's really famous for back in the day for people to do that. Now, that's another thing I learned with this car. And there's a shim here. There's a shim over here. That shim is made for only convertible cars, okay? So if you buy a first gen convertible and it has this kind of shim, okay, looks like a brass shim, is an original door, 100%. Now coupe doors are different, okay? The coupe doors are different. I'll show you guys real quick. You see this rubber stopper here? That came from a coupe door. This door, this complete door is not original to this car. Okay? It's a coupe door. Right here, you can see it. Alright? It's not original to the car. It's a coupe door. It looks like the car was in an accident on this side anyway. And that's why I'm a strong believer why the gills here was covered. Okay, maybe they was trying to cover some damage or something happened here that they just cover it. Okay, because also the inner fender at the front passenger side has a old crease where it looks like it was hit. So somewhere in his life, and it happened pretty early because the owner of the Neighbor had this car since 1973, and he never put it in a body shop. All right, he bought it from a man that was selling used cars back then, 1973. So somewhere from 1968 to, I would say, 72 or early 73 maybe, this car was in an accident and they changed the doors. Passenger side, coupe doors, driver's side, convertible doors. And guys, that's what it is. These cars all tell a story, and it's kind of like playing private investigator. When you breaking these cars down, you start to find a lot of stuff that are wrong with them, or a lot of stuff that wasn't fixed the right way and should be fixed the right way. That's why it's really important to do all your research you can before you even buy a project. Extremely important. All right, so this heater core, let's go with this. This heater core is an original heater core for a first gen Firebird. Okay, and the reason I know that is still brass, and this one over here says Harrison. Trust me, this Harrison here, if I clean it up, you guys will be able to see it. Now, really funny. So he bought the car in 73. He said he doesn't remember ever paying for a new heater core, right? But the heater cover was missing two little screws. Those are the sheet metal screws. They are called, forgot the name of them, right? Oh, speed nuts, all right, was missing. And when I opened up the heater cover and I went to go grab the heater core, the last guy that was in this car left the two nuts inside the box instead of putting it on the box studs. So I found them. They complete now, and that's what gave it away that this was removed at one time or another. The thing is that back then you could find still the original part. All right, this is garbage. It's no good. But the front end work has been going on good. I did all my ball joints, all my new bushings. Last thing I got to do is just clean up the control arms one more time, and I'll be painting it. Lower control arms has everything brand new, ball joints, bushings, all that. All right, I will be going through the transmission pretty soon, cleaning it up, changing the seals and all that. I won't make a video on the transmission because I have a video on it on the transmission I did for the Lovebird, and it's going to be the same procedure. All right, I figure since we had that live on Friday, which was yesterday, I just figure I share that with you guys about really trying to pick the correct YouTube channels to watch, to learn from, and what to do to your project the right way, and how to approach your project the right way. If you ask me, what should you do with a first gen car? Don't matter what it is, or a classic car, try to take it apart as far as you can yourself. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of YouTube channels out there. I mentioned great ones in the beginning of this video that will teach you a whole lot, okay? And to me, a good day, it's a day that you learn something. To me, that's a great day. And I'm still learning, believe it or not. Okay, I will never say I know everything, okay, because that's BS. But I get so happy when I learn something new, all right? So it's really important, guys. We are dealing with cars that are nearly 60 years old, okay? Something is going to come back to fight you, 100%, all right? Especially rust. All right, the body bushings of this car, it's exploded. I mean, really, really, really bad. If you guys would like to see a video on repairing, or I should say installing new body bushings, put a comment down, and if I get enough, I'll make it. It's the first time I'm going to be installing body bushings on an assembled car. I usually do it when the car has everything off and I'm just putting the subframe in, and there's no fenders, there's nothing on the front. The whole front sheet metal is gone and everything inside the car is out. So those are things that are going to be coming up soon for this car, because the good thing is that the owner did decide to move forward with those things. I'm really happy he gave me the green light to go through the cowl, because I'm pretty sure he'll be seeing this video, but I also will be explaining what's going on there, and it's just gonna get worse. That's a sad thing. It's definitely gonna get worse. The good thing is that this car will be sleeping in a garage, so by the time it eats completely the top of the dash, it'll be some years from now, but eventually it'll get there. I promise you that. Well, guys, like I always say, keep your hands dirty and your project will move forward. Take care now. Bye-bye.